Welcome to Allen's Day. This is part two of working on this High Country 3500 Chevy. Part one, put the airbags in the back, got the airlines run, showed you a little bit about the what I want to do with the limiting straps on the back end. That's this limiting strap. I ordered these from Amazon. Like I said, that's a 15 inches is what's going to work on here. And it's one of those things that I don't know anybody that does put the limiting straps on the axles with the airbags. I just wonder why they don't put limiting straps on there. This picture here shows you why you need to put limiting straps on the on these axles when you put airbags in here. This airbag is just stretched out right to the max. There's probably about 2.5 inches worth of load hanging off the bottom of there. I had to lift that axle up to get that airbag in there. So anyways, limiting straps. Tonight's mission is get the controller, air controller, air pump up in the hood there. I'll show you how I'm going to get that jammed up underneath there. But I got sidetracked. Truck needs a oil change. So that's what I'm doing right now, is getting the oil changed in here. And on this Duramax, I run, or on all our diesels, we run a synthetic in there, full synthetic. This happens to be the 1540. Most time it's Shell Rotella T6, but I got a couple of 5-gallon jugs of this that I want to use in there to burn that up, and put it in there old school way with the old school can. Dump it in the bucket. Got to keep it clean. Yeah, that's probably about 60 years old, but it still works. So I'll get the oil change in here and get back to you when we get up top and start working on the air system. And then I got to show you a few other things we got to do on this truck before I feel comfortable that it's road ready. So see you in a little bit. Turning, there is, looks like transmission fluid dripped off the bottom. Looks like I got to make a few phone calls on that deal. Gotta find a home for the compressor, the filter, and then the controller. And I did find a home for the all the electrical, so that'll work out. The closest thing I can figure out where to put this whole thing under here is I got a spot right down in here that I can get this compressor mounted in here. And it should fit. I took and modified the brackets, put a couple of studs on here, and those studs are going to line up with the 2 holes that I just drilled there. If everything works out right, we'll see how this fits. Well, so far so good. I'm going to need some bigger holes. Oh, there they are. So that's going to be the home for the compressor, is down under here. I got to make sure this hood shuts first with this latch here, and find a home for this. I'm going to get back to you after I do a little bit to see how this latch is going to clear this. First attempt didn't work, had a crash. Changed that bracket around, and now I got clearance. Got a little spot down in the fender well for the filter or air intake. Now gotta find a home for this mess. Well, I found a home to mount that regulator for the air compressor for the airbags. Well, it's been a couple of days since I got back on this project. Reason being is, you saw that we had that, I showed you that drip of transmission fluid on the bottom. That got me a little concerned. So I made a few phone calls before I finished the project up here, just in case I had to get a different truck, because I just was a little concerned that, you know what, this might be a 1, 2, 3 week deal by the time they find parts. I was surprised, called up Bergstrom Chevrolet the following morning, about 8 o'clock, and I told them that there was a drip of oil on there. They said, bring the truck down. Brought the truck down there, and they started working on it right away. They said, you want it back today? Which surprised the heck out of me. And as long as it was down there, there was a pressure sensor on one of the tires that was given an error code, and one of the rear shocks, the dust cover on there was rubbing too hard on the shock. So bottom line is Bergstrom took care of me a couple hours. No nightmare story about truck down, truck repair, truck waiting for parts. So I got back on the project. I'll show you what I got. Here's the controller. I did find a home for it. Down in here, I put an aluminum mounting plate here off these bolts. So I'm going to get the controller. This is the air controller, the receiver for the remote on here. I'll get this tucked up underneath there. And then I've got to clean all these wires up with some heat shrink and new ends on here, and get the grounds on here. And surprisingly enough, on this truck, they left you a place to put on accessories. A few of the other versions of trucks that I ran into, they've got absolutely no place you can tap in to put anything on here. And underneath this cover that's on the battery here, there's another spare lug under there. So that's where I'm going to tap into to get my power for this. Anyways, I will bring you back when I get this whole thing put together here, and then we will move on to some more stuff on this truck. It's all hooked up. Got all the wires in here, and I got the remote. Now I've got it hooked. What I probably want to do, and I still might do that, is hook the power to a key on relay. But we'll see how this works. I don't think it's going to be an issue hooking it directly power. I do have fuses there, and I can't see it draining the battery. If I got an issue, I'll change it. So we got the remote. Push the button, and let's see if it goes up. Whoa, wrong way. Got it upside down. Let's try it the other way. There we go. Pump's working. Usually just if I don't have a load on here, I've got it set at about 5 pounds. When I do put a load on there, I'll start out at about 25 pounds. It's very rare that I would ever run that up to 50 or 60 pounds on here. So it's just to take that extra little wiggle out of your back end here. So I got this phase of the project done. The High Country still needs a little love yet. And I'll show you what the love is that I've got to give it on here. Even though it's a brand new truck, you'd think that you're done and you could shut the hood and walk away. You'd be mistaken. I do the same process and procedure, been doing it for years, on all the equipment that we get. Brand new stuff. It doesn't matter if it's a new boat, new excavator, new skid steer, tractors. When they come from the factory, they are not done, as far as I'm concerned. There are points on there that you can do to increase your odds of longevity and not ending up on the side of the road for a week or two. I'll turn you around and get you started here and show you what I'm talking about. Well, let's get started. These 3 items here, 4 items, including the zip ties, if you use these on a regular basis on your vehicle over the life of the vehicle, you could literally save tens of thousands of dollars by using these products right here. Reason being, you get stuck on the side of the road once with some sort of a electrical or mechanical problem, without even thinking about it, it can cost you 10 grand in a couple of days. And that's putting it mildly. So you need to be proactive and not just hope that somebody else did their job when they put these trucks together, or vehicles or boats or whatever you got, to make sure it's going down the road and you're not going to have problems. This could be a couple hour project, couple day project. My motor home, I've been doing tweaks and fine tuning that thing for 3 years. So it's a never ending process, but you got to be paying attention and you got to be looking. Let me get started and we'll show you what I'm looking for. Well, as soon as you get underneath the hood here, you got to start seeing if what is wearing and rubbing. Because when you're going down, when it's sitting here, nothing's moving or rubbing. Like I said, this is a brand new truck. And if you really look close, underneath here, under this box here, you can see the discoloration on that hose. This hose right here is already starting to rub through it. There's rub marks on there. This year, next year, you're not going to have a problem. Couple years, you might have a problem. If you're the person that is just going to run this, get rid of it in a couple of years, you could probably skip this whole part here because you can pass it on to the next guy. But if you have a conscience and you want to see if you can get 20, 30 years out of a vehicle, these are things you got to pay attention to. So I'll show you what I'll do on this rub spot here, and then I'll just keep working my way around. So for this rub spot on that top of that hose, just going to take a simple piece of rubber. Yeah, it might look a little ugly. Yeah, it might look a little tacky. Do I care? No. Do I care about going down the road without breakdowns? Yes. Once again, my Bostik Marine Goop, all I got to do is just put just a little squirt on top of here. That's it. And we will take this and we will put that underneath here where the rub spot is. And now it can rub all it wants on there, and it's not going to rub a hole through the hose. Maybe you're going to have to keep an eye on the box, but hopefully that's not going to be stranded on the side of the road type deal. So that will. Next item you got to look at. Let's just keep going down the line here of what we're looking for. You start looking for any hoses or electrical wires that are moving. Here's a big wire cable right here coming out of this main block here. That looks pretty important. And that's one of those deals that you break a wire and they do the troubleshoot inside the road. that could be a $10,000 repair to troubleshoot and diagnose and look for it. And you just look at this, and this thing, it wiggles back and forth. How many cycles do you think that those little skinny wires have in them before you get a break in there? Well, you might have enough. Are you going to get 1,000,000 miles out of this? This truck won't do it, but if you're working on a semi-tractor, put 1,000,000 miles on there, there's a good chance you're going to have broken wires in there. So this is a simple case where your one little zip tie like this to the appropriate place. Now when you're putting zip ties on here, make sure that you're putting them on there and you don't put things tight, because you could be causing more damage than or more harm than good if you don't use these zip ties correctly. And so we just put this zip tie on here snug. Now you've just turned this all into one. There's still flex and movement on here, but there's not as much on there. So as far as I'm concerned, that was considered a hot spot on there. Took care of that one with a zip tie. All the other wires, just touch and feel everything to make sure that, is it a critical wire and is it going to be causing you problems anywhere? Here's a little hornet's nest here that could be an issue. You've got this plug right here rubbing directly onto these wires right here. How long do you think that's going to take to where that rubbing back and forth on that little skinny wire before you have an issue? These are pretty secured. They're not too bad here. Well, here's one here that you look underneath there and you already see that there's rubbing going on underneath this set of wires right here. So that one will take I'll get a zip tie on that one. And that's a pretty easy fix on there. So just a simple little zip tie and we're good. They should make one-handed zip ties here. There we go. And you don't have to have it tight, but you just want to have it snug to keep that rubbing off of there. I guess the way I look at it, what would they do on the space shuttle so they have longevity out of it? They wouldn't leave frickin' wires hanging out like they do on all these new vehicles. So that takes care of that. Now this little rub spot up here, you got a couple of choices on there with those wires. And you've got wire loom. You've got two styles of it. You've got this relatively inexpensive stuff. You usually buy this in a couple 100-foot roll, and it's really cheap, and it comes in all different sizes. And that's just this corrugated plastic. It works. And if you really want to pay up, you get this split sleeve, which is a little pricier. I mean, it's really pricey, and that's this sleeve right here, material that you wrap wires in, right there. And this comes in all different sizes. So I'm going to put a little piece of that sleeve material on those wires to prevent those from rubbing any farther. Well, let's get that sleeve up there. So we got just enough room on here, on these wires here, to run this sleeve down on this wire. And well, I found another hot spot here. You look down at this, they've got that wire loom on there. It is laying on top of some real fine little wires that's rubbing. And the other thing is, look at this. There's there's a little mount right here that's not put anywhere. So for my best guess, after looking at that one, how that one's mounted, this mount was never installed at the factory. So I got to turn it around the other way, and it looks like it just goes right into that hole there. There. Now we're off that wire that was folded over, and you could just really get close to it. You can see the rub spots on there. How long do you think that would have taken for those wires with that extra weight to rub through there? Even though General Motors knew there was a problem, they solved the problem. Somebody did not connect this connector. And you can go through this entire truck or any brand new vehicle from one end to the other, and you're going to find stuff like that. Rather you be the guy looking for it compared to something bad happening, like I said, on the road. I'm just paranoid from being on the road, being stuck on the road. Been there, done that for decades. Don't want to do it again. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing on here, I've been doing this for decades because of the past problems that I've had. So, well, I got that one solved. So just in this little area here, I found a couple of wires. Go through, check everything out. Now the next step is that I'm going to show you, and here's the part. But every time that you have a wire sticking out of a plug like this, there's a chance with all that vibration on those little wires, if it's going to break, there's a good chance that's where it's going to break. So the way I solve this, I go back to my Bostik caulking here, and I will just put a little dollop on there and build myself just a little, just enough to build it. And this Bostik will stay flexible and it won't be a problem on there. And I'll just build myself just a little support grommet on there, if you want to call it that. It doesn't have to go all the way around, but by doing that, and when that seals, it's going to be better than what it was, put it that way. So all we're doing is trying to increase our odds. And I'm going to do that same thing on all the places that I see bare wires, especially these real little ones right here. I will put a gob of Bostik on there, and I will build that up without making a mess here, and try to keep it so it doesn't look like it went crazy in there. So I better get two hands on this so I can do a good job of making a little, there we go. And I'll clean that up a little bit, and that flows out pretty good. And that just sort of binds everything together. So I'll get back to you when I get all these done, and then I'll take you on to the next step here. Next step of the process, just check to make sure that things are snug on there. Just check to make sure you don't have any loose clamps, things like that. I got to get the right size. There again, this one here doesn't take much in there, but a couple of turns on that. So I'll go through and check for loose bolts on here. Believe it or not, they got loose bolts. I've got all the wires with a little bit of that Bostik around there to help with the vibration on there. Now the next step is, this is your friend. This is a gear and chain oil lubricant. I've been using this for probably 40 years. I've been using this type of oil to spray up things. And what I spray on there is battery cables, grounds, and electrical. When you talk to people there, or listen to people doing diagnostics, first word that comes out is, oh, you got bad grounds, and let me fix the ground on there. Well, fixing the ground is one thing. Preventing the problem to begin with is where you should have started years ago. So what I do is I will go through, and you can see that there's a ground lug for the battery right there. Pretty dry, it's galvanized. I will just take, yeah, it's going to make a mess, and yeah, it's going to leave a black spot. This will all sort of soak in there. But if you do that once a year, you go through this, there's a good chance that that ground is going to be okay. Same thing with the battery cables now. I will do the same thing with that. I will give them a hit of this. Yeah, they've got battery renovator stuff, yada, yada, yada. But I'm going to go through and spray every terminal I can. And here's another cable down in here, the battery. And I hit all this stuff here. All these connections. And even the fuse box. There's the power lug going into that. You can already see, let me get this off. You can see the fuse panel here. If you really look close, you can already see the oxidation on that terminal. Like I said, this is a new truck and you've already got oxidation on that terminal. So if it's happening down there, it's working its way up to here. And if you can just take and put a little gob of spray on there, that'll take care of it. And you're done. It's that simple. I'll get this all wrapped up after the fact here. And even fuse panels. There's a couple of fuse panels on here. I will not do this when it's under warranty yet, because there might be some concerns or griping or warranty or issues, so I won't deal with it. But after the warranty is up on any vehicle that I have, I will take and put WD-40, put a light coat of that down in here and just let it soak down in there. WD-40 or silicone, because this is waterproof, protects against rust, and it's on multi-surfaces. So it's not going to eat or corrode into your wires, I don't think. So that's why I'll wait until after warranty that I'll either use WD-40 or silicone, and I'll start on a yearly basis spraying my fuse panels down. And then also you get to the point where you've got down in here, you got a computer board terminal down here. I'm going to start spraying those things up probably sooner than later. Because of where that's sitting, so let's just give that a hit, because it's not unheard of for moisture to get down into a faulty terminal, and if you just give it a little hit with some silicone or WD-40, you may or may not be extending the life on it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to hurt. But that's up for you to decide and make your own decision on that deal. So I will go through and get all the other battery over there, find all my grounds, and then we're going to call this a wrap under here. And every single time I get under this hood, I'm going to be looking for something else. So let's get on to the next project on this truck here. Once I got the motor done, then I just start working my way around here with this gel lube here. And I will start hitting things like this little bracket right here, give that a hit once in a while. Yeah, it's probably not going to need it, but in Wisconsin, this little metal clip that goes around here, that thing could rot right off there and fall out. So if you keep oil on there, you're going to have less likely a time of it disintegrating with salt and rust, because there's just so much corrosion already, and we didn't even see a winter yet on this deal. So I will go around and do that, and then just walk my way around and start spraying the inside the door latches here. Just give that a shot. And just work your way around the vehicle. Anything that's moving or parked, give it a hit. And if you do that periodically, you're going to get a lot more life out of here. So, well, I think that's it for today with giving the high country here a little bit of love. Get on and show you the next project that we got on the next video. And the couple days that I delayed on here, we got snow out there. It's a couple inches, but it's going to be 35 degrees today, so it's going to start to melt. We're going to have a good winter. Talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching Alan's Day. Life is about making choices. Some things are already perfect. Some things you may choose to upgrade. This channel will show you both. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks again.